You coming in here to sit down?
Yeah. In the late 30s, at one point, there were 900 barns throughout the southeast and the Midwest, handed all over the country to calm the around cities. And it worked.
So one of the most famous tourist attractions in three states that you grew up in. This was your background.
It was actually just the original garden. Garnet and Frida, my great aunt and uncle, they developed a neighborhood of an amazing gardener and artist, pretty incredible woman, and then they opened it to the public 90 years ago.
It's so funny, when I said I was coming to Chattanooga, everyone was like, oh, you gotta go see Rock City. It really is.
Two. It's the Money Buddha Show, everybody. Rock and roll. Get ready, I got a special UFO special.
People, and it has for the past 90 years.
I'm just gonna see it.
Exactly, you gotta see it. That's why all the time it just says see Rock City. We never tried to explain what it was. You just had to come see it.
It's such a spectacular destination because whether you came to Chattanooga
Who is that?
10 years ago or 5 years ago
Oh.
or the next day, but there's
Okay.
always something new to enjoy here in Chattanooga.
No matter your age, you can come here and enjoy what Chattanooga has to offer. I love being able to connect and engage with our visitors. And I think that's so important because if we don't connect and engage with them, what is the purpose of us being here?
What I like about Chattanooga is the mountains and how laid back people are. You try to just have a family style environment and then people feel at home.
We have the name the Teen City for a reason. It is a beautiful place, full of adventure, full of natural beauty, a great place with friendly people that anyone would want to visit.
When a small city delivers big, from food and drink, conservation and adventure to its people, that is when
get our power back, nigga. Money Buddha. This is yeah. Yes, the female want power over you. It's the law of power. 48 laws. It's the 48 laws of power. Do y'all not know about the? Come on now, 48 laws of power. Control the motherfucking dynamic. You got to, but she gonna control you, fellas. You know, motherfucker, you gonna end up Gary Coleman. Rest in peace. Or whatever, my cousin Man. You'll end up manned. These hoes, you don't control the dynamic. The hoes get out of control, and next thing you know, she done hit you in the head with a weight. Hit you in the head with a weight, and now you on dead in the bottom of the steps and shit. And she acting like she don't understand English again. No, sir, read, Bob. That's because they didn't control the dynamic. Because niggas didn't inform them that, hey, you know what I mean? Don't let these girls just run over top of you for a taco platter. We ain't go, speaking of shit like that, oh my God. The Mount Everest. What the fuck is going on at Mount Everest? There's just dead people sliding down the side of the mountain. Why do y'all keep going up there? Why do they keep going up there? Are they not telling them that you die up there?
And they walk past and they even got one guy, the green boot guy. And he been up there and they know that when they get to the green boot guy, they almost halfway up. They just leave him there.
No, bro, this is something else. I saw people crying,
Dan Skilling has been a member of the
freaking out, essentially said, women freaking out, and they were crying. Their little group was crying. And then the cameraman pans, and all you see is like, at first I thought it was trash. Then the lady said, look at the people, because that's actually, you know, your gear is tethered to you. So the gear, when you fall, it drags you down the mountain with the gear. So you can look, and you can just saw all these random people just sliding down the mountain. I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of people sliding off this thing. Meaning to say that, why are they not informing people that it looked like there's only a 10% chance you come from off Mount Everest? Why are they letting people make that a tourist destination? Knowing that no one lives when they go up there. It's a death trap.
Never come back.
It's a death trap.
And you never make it up either.
Yeah, it looks like right when you get to where them clouds start to come, because the summit is still further than that. The mountain goes to like right here, and then that's the thing. It's like there's a wall of clouds. Like I told you where the Yeti is, like where you go to God. Then, because there's another way. I told you if you keep going, I told you there's another. If you look and you actually make it, you'll like. I told you I believe. That's what I believe. You get to the top, and if you make it and look and actually can survive long enough, the clouds will open up and you'll see another mountain. And if you can make it to that mountain, that's actually the gateway to heaven. You know what I mean? But no human ever can. You know, but you actually can, if you had the UFO technology and all that, there is a dimensional gateway through the mountains that there's actually a way to heaven through the mountains. And they always showed you that in the depictions. They showed you that the aliens or whatever, Zeus and them live on Mount Olympus. Because there's another mountain that sits on top of all the other mountains. And since it's so high, it's actually not cold up there no more. Because it's actually close to the sun now. So that's the part they don't tell y'all.
I don't know why they going up there.
Dog, they sliding down like, man, dead bodies everywhere.
And then one lady, she said, the man, she went in a group and somehow they lost her. So her husband went back looking for her. When he got back there, some people had found her. But they said they weren't giving her no more of their oxygen, but then they wouldn't have no oxygen. And so he and her said, well, we got to go back. But he somehow fell off the cliff, and now he's dangling. And so when they found him, she was like, she dead, and he dangling, and he looked up to the thing, and he dead too. Then you never make it. You never, you just die.
It's a death trap.
And then they don't take you with them because they didn't say that's too much exhaustion for them, and they can go to air.
I know, but why don't they tell these people that? They got them free walking up the mountain without oxygen.
Yeah. So
Why don't they tell them that once you get to a certain point, you can't go further than this? Because if you don't have the actual life-sustaining equipment, you're in a dead man zone.
Right.
Why aren't they telling them that?
Because I think they want to see the dead people.
No, I think they want to make them dead people. Astro World.
They shouldn't go.
Exactly, that's
They
the
all
point.
walking up there, they walked up there with some kind of oxygen. They all seem to have oxygen, but they never make it. So the oxygen always runs out. So why they keep going up there? When they know you see dead people when you walk up there.
See, Mount Everest is deadly as disasters. Come on, dog. This shit was no, but this ain't the video I seen. It says dead bodies below leaders of the summit.
I seen some videos where they got the man with the green foot. He got the green boots on, and everybody walk past him. Know there's a certain area where they get
Death
back
on
in.
Everest. Over 200 bodies frozen on Mount Everest.
Right.
Over 200. That's per day. That's what I'm telling you. They're not telling people. If 1,000 people go up, 200 come down every time. They're not telling people that all y'all in this group, most of you are gonna die when you come up here. They're not telling that. They're just saying it's like a regular attraction. You want to book a trip to see Everest? They're not telling them, hey, this is the damn people with that Titan sub. Hey, you know this thing is catastrophically dangerous. You know what I mean? And it'll kill you. I'm looking for it now.
But they go, Eric. Nobody's telling them to go.
Yes, they are. They're encouraging them.
Oh, because they say we got tour guys?
Yep, and they tell me they're not informing these people on, because then no one would go, and then the business dries up. And these were white people. That's the part they're not telling you. These Asian people don't care about white people. They bring in the white people to their death. They like, fuck it, fuck white people. It says the 17th death, when is enough is enough. That's what I'm saying. Stop letting people go up to Everett. Hold on, look at that person. Like they just died underneath the jump. Like they got stuck when it when it turned on nighttime. That's the worst part. Once it started to get dark.
Voir si là il va
Now
me
you what you gonna do in the middle of the night on Everest?
d'avoir une pêche encore d'enfer là pour pouvoir faire le sommet justement tranquille et s'apercevoir que
See, look, this
techniquement
nigga's
des
a
grilles
real climber.
d'activité
You
enfin
see,
tout
he
ça.
got the gear to survive.
Vous pouvez avoir en un seul de moi,
Is that a dead person?
comme ça là sous un tout petit rocher, de rien du tout, ça peut paraître dérisoire, grotesque, tout ce qu'on veut.
Come on now,
Il va
so
rester
you
là.
go and you like, hey, what's up,
Beaucoup,
buddy?
beaucoup de
And
temps.
then the nigga don't
Voilà.
respond.
Si ça vite sur la mort,
He's lying here dead.
toujours bien,
Shit, my best,
toujours,
forget him.
toujours bon de se le rappeler, sans ça l'oublier quand on marche comme ça, on prend des risques à longueur de journée. Voilà.
Why are they letting people die and not telling people that they're gonna die up here? Why are they climbing the mountain like by themselves?
On va aller jusqu'au glacier de
And even
Rongbuk,
if
à
there's
peu
people
près
they don't
4000
want to
mètres
help
de
because
dénivelé.
everybody gang mentality.
Bon.
Like you said, they're not gonna want to give you their little ration
On
because
est
then
ça.
they're gonna die. So you on your own. Oh, look at- he
La
got the
décision
air
se...
movement.
Ben
Ice
voilà,
on
la
his
décision je la prends.
nose. His snot has froze
C'est
on
un
his face.
peu
You know how cold it is
balancer
when your
le
snot
fait
can be icicling on
de
your
pouvoir
underneath
dire
your nose.
j'ai fait l'Everest, ou
That's another
d'avoir
thing,
au
you gotta be
moins
white too.
tenté,
You
là
can't
tout
just
ça
be
sera
any
à
old
peu près
person.
quoi,
You
8600
gotta be
mètres
Caucasian to go
quelque
climb
chose qui
a
est déjà
mountain
très
now.
bien.
That part
Je
they
ne
don't
pas
tell you
trop
how that
souffrir quand
is.
j'arrive
White
là-bas,
people
ça tout va bien.
physiologically have the
Là,
ability to go up there.
vitreux, sans doute.
Oh no, he got frostbite on his
C'est
nose and
critique
cheek.
pour la redescente, qui est quand même assez
Oh
technique par endroit.
no.
Donc je me dépêche de redescendre
What the
directement,
fuck is
certainement
going
col
on?
nord et peut-être même plus bas si je suis en forme.
Je croise en redescendant d'autres.
Yeah, that was crazy. I saw that on Facebook.
It's expertly prepared
Going
by
back and
Kara's
forth.
husband and co-owner, Ben.
Ben, hey Ben.
Whoa!
This is full with bison.
See, they slick. What's it called? Mount Everest. I bet you that's the satanic code word for actually the opposite of you living. You know how you live forever? Mount Everest? That means you gonna be the foreverist? Yeah, you're gonna be up there forever, all right. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
nothing, but they should not bring them down.
Of course, because they know that's the mountain. The mountain is a demon. You don't understand that part. They not showing y'all. That many people die in one location. You think that mountain's not haunted? You think it don't have some kind of spiritual thing to it now because of that many dead bodies?
Wow,
They know.
they know.
That's why they sending y'all up there to give it more energy to feed the mountain. To feed the mountain, just like you feed the haunted house. The haunted house always needs a new family to take the deed after it absorbs the first family, and then the realtor man is actually in on it because he's a part of the house, and he don't tell you, hey, the last people died here, and you'll die here too because this house is haunted.
They in on it.
You know what I mean? That's the
Right, so they know and they trying to keep it going. They
yeah. They the one that pump people to come every year, every day to come die on this death trap.
They were talking about that man. They were like, you know, when you see him, you know you're in good shape. I'm like, you got somebody y'all see the dead man? Telling people that? See the man with the green
The
boot?
Museum of the Rockies is about an hour.
See, look at how when you look up pictures from Mount Everest, like you want to go, Everybody's smiling. Everybody's having a good time. Everybody's enjoying themselves. And you thinking yourself, hey, we gonna have a good time until you get there and it's Astro World. And now they telling them like it's a regular hike. Come on, we're in Alvarez. We're on Mount Everest expedition. It's an expedition. Look at them. They show all the people like we having a good little time. It just get you a North Face. Buy you a North Face and show up. They ain't telling them nigga, boy, this is the most perilous journey you might ever take in your whole life. Trail of Tears. You know what I mean? Do not come. Like, look at this guy. Thumbs up. Excited, making you excited. Thumbs up. I'm having a great time smoking weed. I'm smoking heroin. And you having fentanyl. They lying. And then your dumb ass is this person right over here. Night. Because they making money off this shit. Mount Everest Summit Vehicle with Patrick Olivia. Come on now, look at this one. Look at
They showing it like it's a good thing, good breed.
come on, that's just something fun to do.
Yeah, we just gonna do it. You know, spend all our money to go up there.
Look at the beginning. You know it's hell on earth. Now, if this is what it looks like, when you first get there, there's nothing at the bottom, and then you slowly just start walking until you get to the snow. Why are y'all down there? That's a melted glacier. That's a hell. That's the desert. You going through the wilderness, quote unquote. And then you just start making your way up the wilderness. And then what point do you realize, hey, we should turn back around? Some people do, I bet you. Some people get that feeling, hey, this shit ain't worth it. Let's go back home and go to the loft and get some hot chocolate.
Yeah, let's go back to the cabin.
Look at the pictures. Look how they show you the pictures. Oh, look at they lying to niggas. Look how they telling you the camp 1, camp 2. They should put skulls. They should put the skull and bones over top of these camps. That's death zone 1, death zone 2, death zone 3, nigga. If you get up to camp 3, nigga, you're in the fucking. That shit should be a red. Right here, wherever that is, it'd be a red line. Anything up past this, you're a red line. It's all, and even this is the red line. Base camp. Base camp is the worst. Is right when you're there, you're at the worst place to be on the mountain. Then you still got to go up Nepal, up the Canusio Glacier, up the Canusio Icefall to the first camp. That's when you first start seeing all the dead bodies.
Yeah.
Probably, right? Because look how much work you had to do. You already were exhausted. And now the journey has just begun. That's why it's called a base camp, because you literally got to make all that way up just to get to here. To rest and try to recoup yourself just now to start to tackle the summit. That's why it's called the Summit Series. You know what I mean? Once you got the base camp, that was Everest. Yeah, boy, you trying to go to the summit. Oh, Lordy, look at this picture. Look at all the line of people. It's a whole line of people climbing up that bitch. It's a little line of them. They got enough to let people die, and they don't got to give you your money back on the refund. Oh, that's another thing. If you died, no refund. Now that's all your little 1,300.
God, what is all these people doing that for?
Because they tricking them, brainwash. This is this. Now what happens if a giant cataclysmic event happened and all these people sheared off the top of the mountain because it's already melting? What if Hillary Steps slipped off? Because that's where they are right there. That's what that picture is. That's Hillary Steps. You see how they all were on that little thing going up the top. That's when they make the turn to climb up from Camp 4 to go up Hillary Step. Oh, and that's why the people slip and they're sliding down. They must have been at Camp 2, because I can remember how the mountain looked. The people who were filming were at Camp 2, climbing up, and you could see the body sliding off the sheer of this face of this mountain. Oh yeah, look how high they are. See now what they play. God is on the move. They're on top of Mount Everest playing God is on the move, knowing all the death and destruction that lays in their wake. That's the satanic, that's Astroworld. This is how Lucifer does it, bro. I didn't learn it now. He tricked your ass into a concert and then he locks all the doors and has you trampled to death amongst yourselves in the pit. Because it's really about squishing your soul out of your body. How do you make grapes? How do you make wine? You gotta squish some grapes. See, they're not telling y'all that. How do you get soul juice? You kill humans. Come on now. That's how you get the soul juice. How do you squeeze the juice out of a person? Come on now. I wouldn't be surprised if this mountain was something else, and there's some shrine on the other side of it that you all don't know how to get to no more. That got the skull and bone demon deity right there and inside the face of the mountain, like I said. And when you die on Everest, you're sacrificed to Everestu, the Wustu that they did, you know how they shrink the name so you don't know the whole name, because you can look up the whole name and type in, oh, it's a mountain demon. Everest means mountain demon. Oh, so you're climbing the demon mountain. Oh, that makes sense now. Why you're all dying on this thing? Because the mountain is cursed. It's always been cursed. Why you think they decided to let y'all go up there? To sacrifice your soul to the damn mountain.
See how you're current now? Yeah. Like things to be easy in life.
Because, come on now, I bet you, now, you know me, I got to do my research now. What was Mount Everest called before it was called Mount Everest?
Treat people in naturopathic medicine, and the large obstacle to healing that I would find in my practice was stretch.
Chomolunga. Now let's go look up what Chomolunga means.
My way of dealing with
Told you that's the real name by the Tibetans and the Sagamarans and the Nepalese. See, they have been going up to that mountain. And I guarantee you that mountain means something with the angels in the heavens and where God comes down. And now your ass trying to go up to where God came down at?
this whole trip worth it.
They know that part.
The middle of nature.
The Chomolunga.
Seeing the ego. Oh my gosh, this is why people come. Yeah, to experience.
Who had named Mount Everest? A white man. The Brahmins created the Nepalian name for the Shraga Merthelia for Mount Everest that straddles the Nepalian-China border, which would be the Hindu Kush Mountains, which are the Caucasus Mountains that the white man emanated from when them aliens made his ass. That's why he the only one who can go up to that level of elevation, because that's where he come from. Think about it. You should bring. Here's another name. In Nepal, the mountain is called the Sangra Marthelia for the head of the ocean. Come on now. Name was invented in the early 1600s. Still an invented name. We still don't know the name of this place. Come on now. You start doing your research.
How do you do that with high altitude? As long as the brain's
And the peak, the mountain had two names. Mount Everest and the Tibetan name, the Chomolungma. But these are no Nepalesian names. So they're not from, so Nepalian, they saying it, but it ain't their names. So what's the real name?
What's the real name?
Come on now. Yeah, come on now.
Right on the ski rack, they would not puff up, they would not proof because it's
See, Mount Everest is the highest point on the earth.
in a proofing machine. It's still
So it is something to do with God, nigga. You like you walking up to space, nigga. You done walk damn near halfway up to space, nigga, and then wonder why your ass fucking died.
in Brooklyn, New York.
Cause you going out of the firmament. Oh,
You know, I never
it's
thought
the
I'd
closest
be
thing to the
opening up a
firmament.
bakery here
And
in
y'all really are
East
dying not because of the air, but because of whatever the reaction of your soul is getting snapped out of your body, nigga.
But then you find
And being that you die that high, your soul must not go to heaven.
each other.
Oh,
Your kids just
they
kind
can't
of
get your
raised
soul.
down.
So anybody who dies in Mount Everest is permanently deleted. Oh, that's why they sending all them people up there. Because most of the time with this whole soul game, you can die and not get permanently deleted. But if you die maybe outside of the zone or outside of the whatever this little matrix shit, it just so happens to be the highest point on Earth. It just so happens to be outside of the, right when you get to that part where I say it should be a line. Anything over here, if you die up that part, you don't get to come back to Earth or reincarnate or nothing. Your soul gets trapped up there with your body. See, bodies remain on Everest since 1996, bro. It's still niggas up there.
Well, since 1996,
Apple turnovers and
they
our
just laying there freezing.
to have my business open up here is absolutely amazing because of the support of the community and everything else that we have here. So, you know what? Who wants sweet buns for breakfast? Everybody.
And even some mountain men is like a pink room. At the Lone Mountain Ranch, a sleigh ride and dinner at the lodge complete a perfect day.
Look, they got a Mount Everest Summit Youth Club.
Oh, Lord.
Come on, if that doesn't reek of Satan, now a Summit Youth Club, you trying to take the most vulnerable people up there to die? Because that's how they be. They be on some satanic shit. They some type of people that'll take you somewhere and then don't tell everybody they need air. And then they be the only ones with air. And they be like, why do you have air? Oh, it's just because I waste a lot of air talking to you all. They try to say shit like that and lure you into this false sense of security and make you think you don't need air. And when you need air too.
I think it has an effect on a lot of folks, especially if
Now it's trash everywhere because all the people keep dying and dropping their trash. Say, where's the world's highest garbage dump? Mount Everest. Now they calling it a garbage dump. When in reality, that's all the people shit that die and they can't get nowhere. It says raw sewage. Told you this place is hell on earth. It's hell on earth, dog. It's a hellish place. Ever since Astroworld showed me a lot on how they're hell, how they do hell. Hell is a damn carnival or a damn amusement park with bathrooms only at the exits. Yeah, you know what I mean? And mile-long walkways, but water is only at the beginning and the end. That's hell. That's how they do it. It's like, he says, unable to carry all their gear and garbage. In Nepal, visitors must pay a $4,000 deposit. $4,000, and you think they going, come on, let's get big money. Death is big. You know what they do then? They're not telling you the whole business. Then I can see you not got the vision. Then what they do is there's another group of people like they showed you back in the day in England, the body snatcher people, and what their job is they go up the mountain at night and harvest bodies off the mountain that have been perfectly preserved by the cold weather and get all your organs because you're a corpse. And now there's a body harvesters. Yeah, they get them bodies. It's perfectly preserved.
I believe that. But they do go up there and snatch bodies. And nobody's gonna go up there because everybody's scared.
Oh wow, they got bacteria sewage. Hold on. This is hell. Mount Everest is hellish. It's hellish. Come on, y'all. This shit is hellish. It says, guess where's the world's highest dump? Mount Everest. Raw sewage is now flowing downhill into local villages. How bad does it get? Commercial mountaineering is on the rise. See? Over 600 people have climbed the peak so far. Nearly double the number from a decade ago. And we saw that one before had hundreds of people. That one almost, you couldn't even see the mountain. There's thousands of people now that go up daily. This was from 2018. It's 2021. In Nepal, visitors must pay a $4,000 deposit before climbing. Do you know how much money this is for you to die? They might be paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to die. These people aren't poor people. These whites that they let them die up there. Yeah, and that thing, and they killed that nigga. Because this is how they get rid of the money. How they get you, part you out of your money. See, that's why I always say that. I always notice that. Once you get rich, they start trying to trick you into always wanting to go do trips and frivolous shit, which will be the most dangerous shit for you to do at your status. Talking about you want to go to Mexico when everyone in Mexico is 3, 4, 5 times poorer than you. What do you think's gonna happen to you on your trip in Mexico? You're gonna get poisoned and shit and robbed and murdered. There's no place for them to go. That's why they always be hidden away in these enclaves, because they can't go around the normies no more. They says, is Mount Everest really made from trash? Oh, look at this one. They even gave you a little joke about how it's dangerous. Oh, no, go back. I didn't go too far back. Look at the urgency in his voice, like he was about to die. See? He was really begging for him to pull him up. He was about to slip off the edge of the mountain and die. That's their way of giving you the, you see what I mean? They put it in front of your eyes without telling you. You got to have eyes to see, ears to hear. It's not a joke. They putting it as a joke comedy, but ain't nothing funny about slipping off the edge of a mountain and dying. You understand? But that's how they told you, they making it seem like it's fun. This is psychological warfare. Exactly, and then when on average, it most likely will. It says 1 out of 10 climbers die on Mount Everest. 1 out of every 10. It even says that, and that was in 2018. So you know they letting them go now.
Exploring the world for over 150 years. Guests cruise to nearly 400 ports of call around the globe, exploring over 100 countries. Live music at sea fills each evening. Dining venues feature selections from a culinary council of chefs, offering mid-sized ship experiences with handcrafted itineraries, personal service, and connections to the destinations guests visit. Information available through HomeAndAmerica.com or Travel Professional.
On this land of day, Monday, the mountain keeps the bird.
See right there, there's the line. You can see it. See that line of clouds? You see that there? Right there. See the haunted twilight. It even says haunted twilight. That's that line. You see it?
Oh, yeah.
Once you go through the haunted twilight, you are in the dead man zone on the top. But notice how the top of the mountain isn't snowy anymore. Because it gets to a point where it clears out and actually it's not cold up there. You see what I mean? It's only cold because of the weather. But the sun is hot. Any place that's closest to the sun will be hot. So if the sun is shining right on the top of Mount Everest, it's actually warm. I told you, Mount Olympus is up there. And that's how you get to the heavens. You know what I mean? There's another, like where they say Jacob's Ladder, the stairway to heaven. There's another summit, and you go look, and you'll only certain times, whatever, when that the twilight, the haunted twilight, in very rare occasions, actually blows away and actually creates a clear view of the entire mountain range. And then, like, you know how with the Nicolas Cage shit, you can do your little thing, the sunbeam hits the temple. Because I told you there's a temple up there they're not showing you that's covered by the snow. But when the sun is not there and all the ice melts, once out of every year, every 1,000 years, you can actually enter into the mountain and now enter into a Gotham, which is now the other place. You know what I mean? They know that. That even though it's separated, it's not always separated. And that very sometimes you can fucking, you know what I mean?
Families search for answers.
There's no study, no anything. I think what would it have been like if they'd been raised together?
The Twinning Reaction.
Monday night at 9 on MPT2. There's more to explore with Create on MPT2.
In fact, ain't that where the Yeti is in Nepal? The abominable snowman? Don't he live? Oh, is that what they doing? They feed the abominable snowman. He comes and eats your corpses. Because he don't even nigga be up there, the abominable snowman.
Every day and every hour. All of Japan
They won't even let you see that. That shit was, they covered that shit up.
See it over the air.
See, the route to Mount Everest summit is now open. See, they slick. They close. They know what they doing.
You're watching Places TV.
And people so pressed to want to be able to say that they, went up there.
I'm at a destination where there's excitement in the air for what is new. From a state-of-the-art home to the achievements of the best in the United States.
Oh, here it is.
Historical places that have been modernized and made accessible to all. It's where all are invited to be successful, whether it's creating small businesses, protecting endangered animals, or truly loving our planet Earth. There's no doubt it's where people and place are the gold standard. I'm in Olympic City, USA, Colorado Springs.
You see it, he pans and you'll just start seeing people sliding down the side of the mountain way from where they should be. If that's the route where they are, why are bodies sliding down?
And most importantly, the people who make us.
Those are people. I thought it was trash at first. Sliding down there. You see it look like trash, like when people throw trash. But that's actually people's corpses sliding down. And I guarantee you that's how they capture them. They wanted to do that. They make you put that thing on, so when you fall and collapse, it turns into a sled and sleds you down for them for free.
On the southwest Florida coast, there are wide open beaches and hundreds of islands. Sometimes,
See, look, they even call it Rare Mount Everest Death Zone Rescue. This don't cause it the Death Zone. Why don't be letting the people who are coming up there, hey, this is the Death Zone. There's anybody go past that shit, bitch, you playing with the gods. They know that shit, nigga. Once you get to base camp, but that way they got it set up, they make you think base camp is the beginning. Base camp should be the end. There's your summit. There's your trek up Mount Everest. You got to the base camp. Now you can go back home and leave. Instead, they say, now that you got here, are y'all really ready for some real fun? You're really ready to take this thing to the fucking max?
How can I help you?
He just fell off the damn ladder. That ladder that they always be showing everybody walking across. He just fell off that bitch. Now he hanging upside down by his boots. That's not even a real way to crawl.
How can I help you?
Bro, that right there, when we got to that spot right there, man, this ain't enough, man. What are we doing this for? What are we doing this for? Notice how there's only 86
How can I help you?
views for that video. You think that's by coincidence? Come on, let me put that for you. 86 views, dog.
How can I help you?
Control the views. Where's it at? 86 views. Actual footage of dead bodies sliding down the fucking mountain only has 86 views.
How can I help you?
You think a nigga climbing that bitch might look that up on the iPhone before this?
How can I help you?
Even when I watch people die all the time, it always makes my stomach.
There's an incredible array.
Especially watching crime, shit like that. You know, I watch a lot of people die. Always make my stomach hurt.
John won a silver medal in the 2000 Sydney Paralympic Games.
Butterflies and stuff. I feel nauseous.
Part of the collection.
That's when I know it's I've seen too much death. I haven't seen too many lifeless corpses. Now my tummy hurts. Well, now we need a detox. Let's look up something.
That let you try some of your favorite sports.
God damn, that's sad, bro.
Can be rather humbling.
Oh, they ain't telling niggas. You should know though. Buyer beware now. At a certain
I've
point,
made it
y'all
clear
gotta
that I'm always willing
Only
to
you
return
can
home.
prevent
I would
forest
return
fires now.
home
Come on
tomorrow,
now.
as
At
long
a
as the
certain
government
point,
was
it's
prepared to be
your
reasonable
fault.
and protect the
Obviously,
interests
you
of
know I ain't
our
gonna tell you.
rights
I
in
got bills
society.
to pay. What the fuck, nigga? I
In a
got
world where
bills to
secrets
pay.
hold unimaginable power, shaking the very foundations of our perception, Edward Snowden, the renowned NSA whistleblower and an American hero in the eyes of many, has just revealed something deeply unsettling about UFOs. From classified encounters to shadowy alliances, the truth about extraterrestrial life has been hidden in plain sight. Snowden's latest revelation transcends the realm of extraterrestrial life, and it is a wake-up call that demands our attention. But how so concerned should we be, for starters? And what maiden information has Edward Snowden uncovered about UFOs that is sending the global scientific community agog? Join us in this gripping expose as we unravel the latest terrifying truth that Edward Snowden has just uncovered about UFOs, a truth so staggering, it'll leave us questioning everything we thought we knew about the cosmos.
Damn, niggas really die that much on the road? I need to be a little more careful.
Following the publication of Seymour Hersh's article, which exposed how the secretive U.S. deep state sabotaged the Nord Stream pipeline, the mainstream media instantly perked up, aligning themselves and disregarding the story. Instead, they chose to divert their attention to an inflated tale, a UFO invasion narrative. Remarkably, this UFO story seemed to be conveniently prepared and ready to be unveiled at a moment's notice. It was as if they were eagerly waiting for the opportune moment to unleash it upon the masses. The media channels began bombarding the public with sensationalized reports about possible Chinese balloons attacking the United States, suggesting that we were on the brink of an invasion. Their intention was to divert our focus away from the real issues at hand. Don't look over there, they urged. Instead, look over here. They deliberately tried to steer our attention away from important matters, ensuring that we averted our eyes from the truth they didn't want us to see. Edward Snowden, an outspoken advocate for transparency and accountability, echoed these sentiments. He cautioned us against falling for these distractions. In a recent statement, he candidly stated that it wasn't about extraterrestrial beings, even though he wished it were. Instead, it was just another orchestrated scheme, a deliberately manufactured panic designed to captivate and divert our attention from critical concerns. By doing so, national security reporters would be assigned to investigate the trivial matter of balloons rather than focusing on weighty topics like budgets or actual bombings, such as the ones affecting the Nord Stream pipeline. It's important to heed Snowden's warning and resist being captivated by these calculated distractions. This orchestrated commotion is merely a ploy to keep us occupied with trivialities while the real issues remain unresolved. We must remain vigilant and not allow ourselves to be manipulated by such tactics. Until the next time, as Snowden aptly concludes, we must stay alert and not lose sight of what truly matters. This particular aspect hadn't initially crossed Edward Snowden's mind, but he was completely correct. The strategy employed by the Pentagon was rather shrewd. They orchestrated press briefings to capture the attention of newsrooms, ensuring that everyone's focus shifted toward the balloon and UFO stories. The urgency was palpable as national security reporters received urgent calls to rush down to the White House. The Pentagon had scheduled a briefing, and even the National Security Council was convening a meeting. Despite the lingering concerns about the Nord Stream pipeline exposé from the previous week, the orders were crystal clear. Newsrooms were to prioritize covering the new press conference. A bewildered employee hesitantly questioned their boss, expressing doubts about leaving the Nord Stream pipeline story behind. However, their reservations were quickly dismissed, emphasizing the importance of the imminent press conference. And as the Pentagon would subsequently acknowledge, this diversionary tactic was a stroke of genius. It successfully captivated the attention of the newsrooms, causing a swift shift in focus. Everyone snapped to attention, fully engrossed in the unfolding events. Edward wholeheartedly agreed with the astute observation made earlier that this orchestrated distraction couldn't be understated. Something monumental was unfolding right before their eyes, and it was clear that a grand plan was in motion, he said, masterminded by the elusive deep state government. Snowden believes that the clandestine government operations were deceptively masked under the pretext of an alien UFO invasion. Interestingly, he stumbled upon a reference in a book written by an insider, which shed some light on the matter. When Snowden joined the CIA, he gained access to an internal government search engine similar to a personalized Google, but with heightened anonymity and protection of records. It provided an avenue for employees to delve into classified information, such as the identity of JFK's assassin and similar enigmas. It was an intriguing glimpse into the government's accessible archives, at least for those with the appropriate credentials. As Snowden continued to explore the revelations, a remarkable statement caught his attention. According to the source, there was no concrete evidence to suggest that aliens had ever made contact with Earth, at least not from the perspective of U.S. intelligence. It was not something readily discernible to a government employee like himself. However, he found it intriguing that such classified information was restricted from their view. Moreover, the insights extended beyond the realm of extraterrestrial encounters. They reached the conclusion that humans did indeed land on the moon. Climate change was a real phenomenon, and those mysterious trails left behind by aircraft were nothing more than a fallacy. These conclusions were drawn from the exploration of the internal government search engines. However, he couldn't help but question the credibility of these tools. He suspected that these internal search engines were flawed, as information was selectively segregated, with limited access given to individuals based on their clearances. It seemed like a chaotic system where essential details were compartmentalized and crucial cross-referencing was lacking. To further illustrate this point, Edward Snowden shared an intriguing account from Colonel Philip Corso, who had been directly involved in the government's UFO reverse engineering programs. Astonishingly, the valuable information Colonel Corso worked with was kept strictly offline. It resided in a physical filing cabinet, guarded by his superior officers at the Pentagon. None of this critical data was digitized or backed up elsewhere. It was a peculiar scenario where such vital secrets were confined to an isolated filing cabinet with no redundancy or cross-checking measures in place. It was as if the government intentionally kept this information separate from any digital databases or low-level systems, accessible only to those with specific access and clearances, Snowden concluded. Intriguingly, Edward was amused by the inadequacies of the employees' access privileges. They seemed limited to basic subscriptions, perhaps a meager $9.99 per month plan, while the more comprehensive resources, like the G Suite from Google, were beyond their reach. This discrepancy raised eyebrows, suggesting that the information available to government employees might be incomplete or skewed. Amidst all these puzzling revelations, one thing was certain: something of great significance was unfolding right in front of their eyes. Snowden firmly believed that the deep state, known for its clandestine operations, was plotting something immense. And what better disguise than an elaborate UFO invasion narrative? He couldn't help but emphasize the urgency of the situation, promising to delve deeper into these captivating revelations shortly. Before delving further into the subject at hand, Snowden took a moment to address a misconception that arose from their previous statements. He clarified that their stance wasn't dismissive of UFOs himself, but rather skeptical of the government's sudden narrative that the nation was under attack by UFOs. This narrative, in his opinion, was nothing but rubbish. He emphatically stated that there was no ongoing UFO assault on the country. In fact, Snowden recalled how senators like Marco Rubio had begun discussing the matter. He had foreseen that the government would exploit this narrative, utilizing it as a threat to justify increased military defense spending. He cautioned the audience on a show, confidently stating that it was only a matter of time before they began pushing for more funds for advanced space programs and initiatives like the Space Force. They had been ahead of the curve in recognizing this strategic maneuver. Snowden wanted to make it clear that he was fully committed to this analysis. He understood the manipulation and underlying agenda to drive more financial resources into these areas. Their skepticism wasn't directed towards the existence of UFOs themselves, but rather towards the deliberate exploitation of the UFO invasion narrative as a means to bolster military defense budgets. He concluded they were fully engaged in unraveling this intricate web of deception and manipulation. This UFO story has been a significant part of Edward's coverage for several years. He has personally engaged with various government employees and military personnel who have shared astounding accounts regarding secret government operations and UFO programs. These clandestine programs stretch back to the notable incident in Roswell, where the United States allegedly recovered the wreckage of a UFO. It was later transported to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio. During a particular Fox News session, an interview was conducted with Air Force One pilots. These pilots disclosed remarkable encounters with unidentified flying objects while transporting presidential candidates through the skies. The reported technological capabilities of these UFOs surpassed anything known to be within our own technological reach. Similarly, in an interview segment with pilot Andy Danziger, who had first-hand experiences with UFOs, this extraordinary incident occurred during Barack Obama's 2008 presidential campaign, but it wasn't until recently that Danziger publicly shared his story. The speaker emphasized the importance of clarifying that this incident occurred back in 1989, prompting the question of why it took such a long time for Danziger to come forward with his account. Snowden's involvement in covering these stories and their deep engagement with first-hand witnesses highlights the gravity of the UFO phenomenon and its connection to secret government operations. It underscores their investigative work's significance and commitment to shedding light on these extraordinary occurrences. Surprisingly, Edward finds it truly remarkable that ever since the incident in question, it had become incredibly difficult to engage any member of the White House or Congress in discussions regarding UFOs. The subject seemed to be an unspoken taboo, with no official acknowledgement or disclosure of what the government was covertly doing about these mysterious phenomena. It was a topic that simply never made its way into public discourse. The speaker highlighted the extraordinary nature of this situation. It had been nearly impossible to find anyone willing to speak on the record about UFOs and the government's secret involvement with them. The fear of job loss loomed large, effectively silencing potential whistleblowers or insiders who possessed valuable information. Given this pervasive silence, it was truly alarming when the narrative abruptly shifted out of nowhere. Suddenly, everyone, yes, absolutely everyone, began discussing this subject. The speaker couldn't help but express their astonishment at the extent of this newfound attention. They pointed out that even major news networks like NBC and CBS News chose to lead their nightly news broadcasts with this UFO story. The sudden surge of public interest and media coverage signaled a seismic shift in the prevailing narrative. This dramatic turn of events left Edward and likely many others perplexed. The question lingered: what had transpired behind the scenes to prompt such a significant change in attitude and openness? It was a noteworthy development, suggesting that powerful forces were at play, pushing the UFO topic into the limelight after years of deliberate silence and secrecy. A new development in the UFO saga has made it even more intriguing. Recent reports emerged of U.S. warplanes shooting down yet another unidentified aerial object. This event has fueled the growing mystery surrounding this enigmatic flying craft, leading to a race to recover and examine the downed objects. Defense Secretary Austin publicly stated that these objects posed a threat to civilian aircraft, adding to the urgency